Hello everyone, welcome to the When It Worked podcast. You're the host, Julia Lee. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Michael Doyle from Brandiron. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. Alright, so this is a game of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The important thing to know is if you are not sure, you've got 3 lifelines, Michael, and it's much better to use a lifeline than blurt out the answer and knock yourself out. The lifelines are 50-50 split, poll the audience, or you have 30 seconds to Google. And I'm just going to get the chat up and we'll get straight into it. Okay, so the first question for Michael. A musician can play notes on which of these instruments while inhaling? A, flute, B, trumpet, C, trombone, D, harmonica.
I'll go with D, please.
D, harmonica. Let's lock it in. Well done, Michael. That is correct. On to the next question. A move called a jackknife is commonly performed in what sport? Diving, hurdles, shot put, or running? Kind of difficult. Do you have any idea without locking it in?
Yeah, I'll go with, A, please.
Ooh, that was a bit hair-raising. Locking it in without using a lifeline. But doesn't matter, Michael got it correct. Well done. A muumuu is a loose-fitting dress traditionally worn where? Australia, Hawaii, Finland, or Japan? A muumuu.
Oh boy, I'm gonna go with B.
You're going to go with B with no lifelines. I thought the answer might be Walmart. Correct. Hawaii is correct. Well done, Michael. Not even hesitating there. A popular tourist destination in Europe, Prague is the capital of what country? Serbia, Slovakia, Czech Republic, or Albania?
I'll go with C, please.
C. I think Michael's a bit of a smart cookie. Let's lock it in. That is correct. Well done. No doubt at all. A movie genre characterized by dark lighting and bleak settings, film noir, literally translates to what? Mystery film, black film, crime film, or romance film? Don't forget your lifelines if you're not sure.
I'll take a 50-50 split.
Alright, let's do a 50-50 split. We've got mystery film or black film left. Film noir.
Okay. I'm gonna go with B, please.
Locking in B, black film. That is correct. Well done, Michael. You're at the $1,000 safe mark. $1,000 in pretend funny money. One lifeline down, still going. A small tool called an orange stick is most commonly used at what type of business? This one you will not know. Grocery store, nail salon, hair salon, or florist? Maybe you will know. Do you have any idea without locking it in, first of all? An orange stick?
No clue.
No clue. I recommend you poll the audience on this one.
I'll poll the audience on this one.
All right, let's poll the audience. An orange stick is a small tool commonly used at what type of business? Let's see what the audience has to say. We need enough votes to be able to calculate a percentage. We need a couple more. Okay, we've got A, 20%, grocery store, B, 54%, nail salon, C, 17%, hair salon, D, florist is 9%. So the winner, according to the audience, is B, nail salon for orange stick. What do you want to do?
I'll go with B then.
Let's trust the audience, who cheat by Googling often. That is correct. Well done, Michael. Still alive. You've got one lifeline left. Let's continue on. A skeleton's gender controversial, can be determined by looking at the curvature of the sciatic notch, an area of what bone? Skull, hip bone, backbone, or thigh bone? If you were a guessing man,
God.
what would you go for without locking it in?
I'd say the backbone.
Well, Michael, what I'm going to tell you to do, pull out your phone. You've got 30 seconds to Google sciatic notch. Timer's on now.
Okay.
Sciatic notch. I went for that as well because sciatic sounds like backbone, but let's see what Google says.
Hip bone B.
Okay, let's lock in hip bone. We've had a change of heart. That is correct. The lifeline saved, Michael. Where are we up to? We've got no lifelines left. We're at the $4,000 mark. Let's see how far Michael can go. A reference to the last initial of the retailer's founder, the K in Kmart, stands for what? Kresge, Kramer, Knotsbury, or Knight? K in Kmart is for the founder, Kresge or Kresge, Kramer, Knotsbury, or Knight. Do you have any idea, Michael?
No.
Nor do I.
But I'll go with D. Just
You've got to pick something.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the correct question is correct answer is Kresge. All right, Michael, you did pretty well. You had some tough questions there. Let's effortlessly segue into brand iron. Tell us a little bit about the journey to where you are now with brand iron.
Sure. Let me take a little bit step back. Before brand iron, I had a advertising and marketing agency focused on the technology realm. And at the end of 1999, during the .com days, I sold it and worked for a large .com brand, running their national brand. And so I did that for a couple of years, reported in Wall Street during the .com days. It was a horrible experience. Wouldn't recommend what I went through to anybody. And then after a couple of years of serving in purgatory, I went back out on my own and started up Brand Iron. We've been around for 21 years now. I tell people we were branding a marketing agency where we brand and position clients to achieve their desired outcomes.
You know, initially my initial reaction was it's a fantastic name for a business, but because it's, you know, your brand iron, something that lasts, and obviously a play on words. How do we pitch investors, Michael?
Well, I tell people, you know, the best way to pitch it is have a really good pitch, or, you know, pitch presentation, and have a really good idea of not only what your story is, and not only your differentiators, your value points, your value proposition, but not only for the business, the product, the service, the technology, what it is you're trying to raise money for. Well, also understanding the financial story and what that wants to look like as well too. And so being able to put together a presentation that has all these core components and do it in nice, clear, and concise fashion, hopefully within, you know, let's say you have 45 minutes to an hour long meeting. We tell people to have like 25 slides or so. So you've got about 25 to 40 minutes worth of content. And then you've got about 15 to 20 minutes for questions and answers, or hopefully your pitch is compelling enough and engaging enough that they want to ask you a bunch of questions, and because they're excited about what you're presenting to them. And so we tell people that you want to put together a pitch presentation, but you really want it well thought out, and you want to put together the story very, very compelling.
Yeah, absolutely. The story is something that we just love and we remember. We don't remember details, but we remember stories. Let's move it back a little bit because I guess your bread and butter is branding. What do we need to know about forming a personal brand, and what do people get wrong with it? What do they need your help?
Forming a personal brand or any brand, for that matter, is understanding first and foremost who you're trying to appeal to. So understand who you're trying to appeal to, or your ideal customer profile, and what does that want to look like. And based on who you're trying to appeal to, whether it be a specific segment of the industry or the marketplace, or towards an investor or whatever, you've got to understand who you're trying to appeal to. You have to understand what makes you different and better than the competition. What's unique to you? What are your value points? What's your value proposition? And then you want to figure out, okay, well, not only if that's what I want to strategically position myself in, how do I position myself? What does that want to look like from a brand, look and feel? But also, what's the strategy and content and those value points that go into the value proposition? And so, how do you put all this together into a brand that's going to help position you the best to be able to effectively communicate that to accomplish the goals you want to accomplish?
So let's say the branding has been built. And then the next question that people have is how to grow and scale. So what are some of the things that we need to know about doing that?
Yeah. So as I talked about a few minutes ago, when you actually put together what your ideal customer profile wants to look like, what your ideal customer profile wants to look like, you either need to build a database of them or buy one, or build one organically or buy a database. You need to be able to figure out how you're going to be able to reach out to them, whether it be through direct marketing, or outbound marketing, through social media marketing, through networking, or trade or industry groups or channels. You've got to figure out what is the best and most efficient way to reach the target market that you want to reach. And so you kind of put together not only the target, who it is and how it is, kind of build that database of what they want to look like and figure out the most effective mediums to reach that. And then you start to develop the messaging that's going to engage and connect with them. And then you've got to be able to put together a target plan or a go-to-market plan that's going to be able to, that you could implement, that's going to be able to engage with them and compel them to take action, whatever that action is that you want to be able to accomplish. And then you got to be able to track and measure how well is the things that you're doing, are they working or not? And you've got to make sure that you want to connect with this audience, and are the tactics and mediums that you selected working or not? And you be able to track and measure that in real time and be able to adjust appropriately to be able to achieve your goals and objectives.
And what are the what companies do you mostly work with? Is it startups or established? Who is your ideal clients?
I say there's three different ones. We do have some startups, but some, they have to have a little bit of money. We also work with what we call these SMBs, or small emerging sized businesses. Let's say they're $4 million to $50 million in revenue. And then we have much larger, more established businesses as well too. And so it's those three different categories, and we have kind of a mix between probably the SMBs, or the small, medium-sized businesses, is probably 60%, 20% are startups, and then 20% are the larger, more established, larger businesses.
And one of the other things you help people with is you help companies prepare for acquisition, to get acquired, to exit. What do people need to know about getting their company ready to be bought out?
Sure. The first thing that most people need to understand is what's the true value of your business. I'd say 90% of the businesses out there, they have an overinflated opinion about who they are and what they're worth. And so you've got to have a reality check about what's really happening in the marketplace, and really how much is your company worth. And so whether it be through your accountant or your accounting firm or through a valuation specialist, you've got to get a pretty good idea of what's happening in the marketplace. The thing you want to do is you want to figure out, okay, well, who is the most likely target for us to get acquired by? Would that be what we call strategic buyer, somebody in your business that, or your industry that you may already may know, or they may know of you, maybe a competitor of yours, or it could be a financial buyer like a private equity firm or a large institution. And so who makes the most amount of sense? Is it somebody in your industry, a strategic buyer, or is it a third party like a private equity firm or institution that may want to buy you? And then once you figure that out, you put together another thing we like to call it, but it's a pitch deck, but it's what we call management presentation. Much like a pitch deck, in fact it is, but instead of raising capital, you put together a presentation of how and why are you a great investment, how and why you've gotten to this point, but with the right partner and with some capital infusion, you could take it to this point. And what does that look like? And how are you going to work together to take this thing to the next level? And what does that want to look like?
Do you get much blowback from people when they get the figure of what their business is worth?
All the time.
And how do you deal with that? Because it's like on Shark Tank when people come up with this, they think they've got this $100 million idea and it's really not. What do? You just get, like you said, get the accountants in, get a couple of opinions on it, and that brings them back down to earth?
Maybe.
Hopefully.
I think a lot of times, a lot of them, I call it, they love their baby, right? And so no one ever wants to hear that their baby's ugly or it's not worth as much as they think it is. And so that could be a pretty tough conversation, whether you're a startup and they think it's $1 billion unicorn idea, or whether it's an established business and they're trying to sell it so they can ride off into the sunset. It can be a tough conversation. And so you've got to have a fact-based conversation about what's happening in the industry or what other companies in the space are going for, or how good the market is right now, or if it's stagnant or stale right now. So you've got to have a pretty well fact-based estimate or idea of what reality is for a business in your particular space.
Excellent. And if people want to touch base with you, I've got the link in the description, and there's some information there. What is the process if people want to have a chat with you? Do they fill something out? Who do they speak to? Do they have a call with you, a Zoom call or something?
Yeah, and they could fill out the contact form that you've got up here, a little questionnaire. They could drop us a note. There's several different contact forms on the website, or ping me on LinkedIn as well too. I'm active on that as well too. Happy to talk to anybody. We actually do a free 20-minute deck review consultation as well for people that are looking to get some insights how they can improve their, whether it be a capital raise deck or a management presentation as well.
That would be valuable, I think, for people. Well, thank you very much, Michael, for coming on and having a go at the game, and also giving us some value about what you're doing over at Brandiron.
What am I doing? Would you say that again?
No, just thanks for coming on and providing value and playing the game.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, okay?
No worries at all. Thanks for listening and watching.